All right, gang, in this video, we're going to talk about 5 footwork concepts that you should master to become a better West Coast swing dancer at every level. My name is
Brian B.
And this is Miss Megan. And this is a shirt that says West Coast Swing. If it starts walk, walk, and ends with an anchor, it's West Coast Swing. And you can get some cool shirts in the merch store below and help us make all these free videos. First concept is, Miss Megan.
Rolling through the feet.
What does that mean, Miss Megan?
It means that you're going to roll through every part of your foot as you move from foot to foot, and you're going to roll onto and out of your other foot.
So as I'm moving backwards, right, any of us moving backwards, right, and you can practice this going both ways, I'm tracing my foot across the floor. We're going to talk about that later. I'm taking the weight into the ball of my foot and lowering my heel. I'm also at the same time pushing off the foot I'm coming from. That's the one that's going to give me balance. So I'm tracing this and I'm trading. As I'm lowering my right foot, I'm pushing off. So I'm rolling through my feet. One of my coaches said, Brian, you're dancing like you have boxes on the bottom of your feet, right? So if Miss Megan goes back and I go forward, I can trace this foot and move heel to toe, heel to toe. So I'm measuring my weight through my foot, and you can see that I can almost get Megan to follow me a little bit with my body weight this way, right? So it's the communication of your weight through your feet on the floor. We also teach that typically when you're walking forward, it's a heel lead. It does not have to be. So can you talk about heel leads versus ball leads going forward?
Yes, so heel leads rolling through your feet. After we put our foot through and you strike on the heel, you're going to roll down through the rest of your foot to your toe. From there, rolling all the way to the toe. And then the next foot, heel goes all the way through to put your weight on your toe. If you do toe leads, the rolling through your foot is a little different. All right, so if you strike with your toe, if you're a ballet dancer, this kind of will make sense to you. So if you strike with your toe, you're going to roll down to your heel and bring your weight forward that way. Strike, roll down to your toe.
Which brings us to number 2, which is the poise. Megan wants to talk about this, the poise, which will help your rotation. So if we're both going forward, right? If I take a heel lead, I have to take my weight all the way to the ball of my foot so that my big toe and the next 2 toes there and all the energy comes up. Because at this point, I now have a forward poise. So if I need to rotate, I'm over the forward part of my foot, right? So connecting that. Now, Megan talked about this too. If I take a toe lead forward, right, I'm taking my toe, I'm connecting my heel, but notice my weight's not there yet. I've connected my foot toe to heel, but now my weight continues across using this back foot. Now when I'm over this 3-toe base, now I'm able to rotate and stay balanced, and I'm dancing forward, as opposed to if I don't fully get there, or if I just let my hips swing forward, now as I turn around, I have a backwards poise, and this is where balance issues will come in, right? Third concept is called tracking. So what do we mean about tracking?
Tracking would be taking your foot through the space to where you're going to strike with your heel or your toe, or tracking it as you turn and through the space.
So a good drill for this is we're both gonna walk forward, right? My right foot's free, but I'm gonna walk to this diagonal of the room and that diagonal of the room. What I wanna do is, as I pull this foot through, I rotate my standing foot and walk forward. I pull through and walk forward. So I'm not walking diagonal. This is what walking diagonal would look like. I would walk diagonal and diagonal and diagonal and diagonal, right?
What a DUI test would look like.
That's what a DUI test would look like. Do you ever wonder as a dancer, you think, I would ace that even with a couple of beers? I actually
Probably.
don't. I don't think I'd ace it. I think that I would have more confidence than I should. So don't drink and drive. So we're gonna rotate and step forward, rotate and step forward, rotate and step forward. But what if we reverse this? With the right foot, I needed to go back that way. I would need to rotate and track my foot and step back, rotate and track my foot. So notice the standing foot is rotating, which takes us back to part number 2, the poise over the foot. I can be forward poised, I can be back poised, I can have a left poise or a right poise.
Which is a very good drill.
That is
moving back and forth on your feet.
Yes.
To know where you can move your weight. It doesn't take a lot of movement from your body to go back and forth on your feet.
And we have a theory that a lot of connection doesn't actually come through the arm, that's just a conduit, because if I clunk onto my foot, you can see Megan clunk, right? If I have the ability to transfer my weight, and so does she, then she can transfer her weight at the speed that I want or stay at a slower speed, right? So your ability to move through your feet is a big part of it. So let's combine 2 and 3, the tracking. If I was going backwards, right? If I go back to this angle, I rotate and I go back to that angle. I'm actually forward over my foot. So as I rotate to go back to a different angle, I'm forward over the ball of that foot, and that can help me move back. If I were to track and get my weight back weighted over my heel, now it's much more difficult to rotate, and I'm likely to fall off balance and not look good. Cool? So we've talked about rolling through the feet forward and back, the general poise, tracking your feet so they're always moving underneath you.
Ooh, and a good point for tracking your feet, don't pick them up.
Oh, we didn't, that was on our tracking point. You're basically going to try to not pick your feet up unless it is for effect,
Yes.
right?
Your heels can come up, but you want your toes to at least stay on the floor.
So that way you have the ability to use the other foot for styling things. You use the other foot for balance. If I'm picking that foot up, unless it's for something very specific, it's much easier to keep my feet underneath me and attached to the floor because that floor is helping me. Cool? Which leads us into, that will help with number 4, which is tight footwork. And this is for sure what happens with our basic patterns. We lead a right side pass, and we're just so happy that the beginners do walk, walk, triple, triple, walk, walk, triple, step. It's really big, but all the best people are able to dance it small, right? So tight footwork. Let's talk about the right side pass and tight footwork for you, Miss Megan.
All right, so followers, first of all, the first 2 steps do not have to be very big.
Oh, right off the bat.
Especially if the leader does not go very big. Now, if they're going long,
Go long.
have at it.
Super Bowl, not too long.
But but if everything's working the way it should, we will be taking nice smallish steps for the first 2, 1, 2. Then for this, we're going to take a small side step, suck our foot up in between, and then a small back step. And then on our anchor step, that last step we can really release into our connection.
And it's the same thing from leaders. We'll just use the right side pass to talk about this, right? If I'm coming back for 1 and I'm being very tight for 2 and I'm being very tight for 3 and 4, 5 and 6, then I have the ability, because I'm not moving very far, I have the ability to do what people might call styling, right? So a good drill is practice a couple of your basics, thinking very tight footwork, very tight anchor step, very tight if I was doing a whip, very tight footwork, anchor step. Another one is just basically our triple step drill, and this kind of ties in tight footwork and better rhythm within the footwork. So instead of this being big, triple step, stepping in the bucket we call it, I want to get used to being able to roll this right underneath. Half beat, whole. Half beat, whole. And because they're small, I can start to add some legs, knees, hips, body rhythm into this, right? By being very small with my footwork. Cool? Now the 5th one, we've got a video all on this that you can download right here. It's a footwork drill called cover and pull that will pull all of this together. So if you're looking to up your styling, you'll want to watch that. That's the 5th tip. You can download it here. And if you want to see some other styling videos that we've got, you can watch those right here. See you on the dance floor soon.